Hi, I'm Paul with the product team here at Rerun. Today I want to show you some of the new features that we've released in Rerun 0.24, which is available today. The features I'm going to go over are light mode, a long requested feature that's now finally available, live encoded video streaming, our built-in URDF loader, and something under the hood that we've been working on for over a year, tagged components. Let's jump right in and see these together. So here I've got a teleoperation session with my SO101 robot arm looking at picking up pens on my desk. So right away, you'll notice the light mode, which is a new refreshed view from our default dark mode. It will respond to your system settings, or you can manually set it in the settings up here. Over here on the left, we have our URDF viewer. We've always been able to view URDFs, but you've had to download an external data loader to do so. However, we've now built in this data loader right into the Rerun repository itself, so you no longer have to go to multiple places to get your URDF loaded. It's just logged automatically. And you can see that it displays and updates the robot live as I teleoperate it around with playback history. Speaking of playback history, one thing you might notice here on the right are images, which is very typical of rerun applications. But these are actually live encoded video streams and not raw logged images. This is really big, especially for robotics applications, because these episodes can get to be incredibly long, sometimes 5, 10 minutes. That's tens, even hundreds of gigabytes of uncompressed images that you need to download, store, post-process in your data sets. If you live encode your video stream, not only do you get the smooth playback, so you can keep all of your videos and images, but the file sizes are significantly smaller. Here we have about 140 megabytes, some of which is the URDF itself. The rest of it is largely the live encoded streams here, the video streams. So this is a really important way to reduce overhead while also capturing all the image data that you need for your training and your playback and your debugging. Additionally, with video, it's pretty straightforward to pull the video stream out and save it and mux it into another video container, such as MP4 if you want to share it outside of the rerun recordings. Speaking of the rerun recordings, we have the live viewer here. If I want to save this recording, I'd have to do something like come in here and save recording. So we've released a new multi-sync API to our SDKs. What that allows you to do is you can specify a file sync if you want to record directly to an RRD. You can specify a gRPC sync if you want to stream your data to a live viewer like we're doing now. Or you can specify multiple syncs. This is the new feature where you can both stream to recording and stream to a live viewer at the same time. This is very convenient, especially for automating data set creation, as we do with the La Robot example, creating imitation learning training sets, and we want to automatically generate those training data sets. And finally, something we've been working on for over a year is tagged components. We're constantly thinking about ways that we can model our data better and design our system to be more efficient and flexible in terms of using and logging your data from multimodal sources. As you might know, we've designed Rerun around an entity component system. But one limitation we found of that is that if you want to log the same component types to one entity, the system will override itself. So now what we've done is we've tagged these components with their component field name and, if available, their archetype that helps us uniquely identify that component within each entity. That allows us to log multiple archetypes to the same entity without worrying if they have the same component type and therefore running into the possibility of having these components conflict and override each other. And a lot of other improvements under the hood that you can't really see in a viewer here, but we will look at some of the ones you can see. So first of all, you'll notice all of the components, which are the cells here of our grid view, are now grouped by their archetype. So here, for example, this is an entity from our URDF, the URDF that was logged. We have an asset 3D archetype. We have a transform 3D archetype. So two archetypes logged to the same entity. If we wanted to log something else, like a boxes or arrows or something like that to this entity, well, they would both have a translation component attached to them, and those translations would compete and override each other. Now, since it's grouped by and tagged with the archetype, we avoid that problem, and you can log whichever archetypes that you desire. If we look down at the streams panel, we'll see that the components are also grouped by their archetype here. And of course, you can log components without an archetype, and that will just show up in the general without archetype bucket. Again, you can log multiple components of the same component type, such as scalars or position 3Ds. As long as you give them different component names, they will not conflict. So this is another big value that we get out of tag components. The other thing that if you've been paying very close attention to the data that shows up here in the streams panel or the table view, you'll notice that there are these things called indicators that show up. So for example, this transform 3D would have a translation, a quaternion, and a transform 3D indicator. Now that we've tagged these components with their archetype, we no longer need that indicator, which was just a little helpful piece of data to let the viewer know, hey, this is meant to be a transform. This saves space in the recording files and reduces a lot of visual clutter. And it makes querying and working with the data that much easier as well. Thanks for going on this tour with me of some of the new features in Rerun 0.24. So we'd love to hear your feedback after you've given these new features a go. You can always reach us in our Discord, where we're very active, or file an issue on GitHub if you've got a question or notice a bug or have an idea for an improvement. And PRs to our open source repository are also always welcome. So thanks again, and we hope you enjoy.